Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the trailer for Doom Annihilation that dropped, and but before we do that, I'd like to say again, head over to Indiegogo and take a look at Hero. It's a young adult's book, or children/young adult comic book. Pick up a copy. If you know somebody, a child, a grandchild, a niece, and nephew, pick them up a copy. It's a fun little book. And if you do, it would be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for that. And now let's get into the meat of this subject, which is Doom Annihilation. Now, this is supposed to be a reboot of the Doom series, from everything that we've heard. It started out as a theatrical release. It is now going direct to video. And the trailer for it looks like hot garbage. To be frank, it looks bad. This thing looks like it had a production budget that was less than the theatrical 2005 Doom, which, by the way, I find a kind of a guilty pleasure movie myself. But the trailer starts out, you have some okay-looking CGI, you have a ship flying through space. It looks like it's supposed to take place on the Mars research facility, similar to Doom 3, the game Doom 3. And it really, aside from that, there's really not too much. It looks like it kind of goes along similar lines to the 2005 Doom, where it's a group of soldiers that go there, except instead of some kind of weird genetic virus that gets spread through weird tongue worms, they actually say that they opened up a portal to hell or something on Mars. But here is the big problem with this, and this is kind of the same problem that the 2005 Doom had, is the idea that, look, the Doom games were really good because you played as Doom Guy and there was just carnage everywhere. And that's really what made that game so enjoyable, was playing as that character, playing as Doom Guy and being like that. But in this, they seem to have not only included far more women, which, again, I don't have a problem with including women in the movie, but at the same time, try to be somewhat faithful to the Doom license, or at least to the game license, because really, if you're making a video game movie and you're not going to do something to make it for the video game fans, then what's the point of making the movie? You're ignoring, again, this kind of goes back to the idea of demographics. You're ignoring your demographic. You're ignoring the crowd that likes the video game and buys the video game, and that's really what people that's really what people enjoy about Doom. The 2005 film was a complete flop. The Rock won a Razzie for that, I believe, or he was nominated for one. And again, even though the film was a guilty pleasure for me, it's still not a good movie. It's well made in the sense that, from a practical effects standpoint, it's not bad. And really, the shining point in the movie is at one of the end scenes with Carl Urban, where they go first person, so it's kind of like the video game. But here's the thing: is like, I'm not saying you need to follow the games religiously, but look, if you're going to change up the entire aspect of Doom itself to make a movie, then why even bother slapping the Doom name on it? And I think that this feels like a film that Universal gave up on. This feels like a film that Universal just kind of wanted to push out. They put it on direct-to-video. The lighting of it looks like it was filmed on a fucking Handycam. It doesn't even look like it was filmed on a Hollywood caliber camera. And some of the lines that are said in the trailer look they sound terrible. Like, kill. It sounds so stupid. I don't know specifically who is starring in this thing. I mean, obviously they show them in the trailer, but I don't know the actress' name or the other actors' names. But it's something that's like, look, if you're again, I have to reiterate this. If you're going to ignore the core demographic of the property that you are adapting to film, then there is no point in adapting that property to film, because you're not going to attract anybody besides the core demographic. And if you alienate them, then your movie will not do anything. And again, I think this is why this is going direct to DVD. I think that Universal already knew this thing was dead on arrival, and they have no interest in putting this thing out in theaters and watching it get annihilated, because Universal is too invested right now in their dark universe, their monster universe. But it is a shame, because you could do a really nice and fun movie shouldn't say nice, but a really fun, violent movie with Doom, because it's not a terrible premise that you could adapt. And as long as you did something where, include the Doom guy, include Doom guy. That's all we ask. It's the same thing as if you were to make a Halo movie. If you made a Halo movie and you didn't have Master Chief in it, nobody would go see it because nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants to see a Halo film that wouldn't have Master Chief in it. It was like, oh, it stars Sergeant Johnson and Miranda Keys. No, nobody gives a shit about those two characters when related to the Master Chief. Everybody wants to see the fucking Master Chief. Nobody gives a crap about the side characters in terms of if it was a film adaptation and you don't have the main character and you focus on the side characters the entire time, it's going to be a shit filmed adaptation. And I know Hollywood likes to make the argument like, oh, well, they're a silent protagonist or this or that. They don't have much character and everything like that. That's why you have writers. That's why you have writers to do these things. Because a writer's job is to make the characters compelling. And look, if you have to make a character talk and you have to give them a personality, that's fine if you have to do that. And I realize there are certain things that have to change when you're changing from one medium to another in an adaptation. It's the same thing when you go from a book to a film. Large portions of books are cut out when you go into a film adaptation because either A, they don't work, or B, they're clutter. And I understand that. But at the same time, if you wanted to do a Doom guy thing, simply give the Doom guy a personality. Don't put him in the suit the entire movie. Maybe have him start out as something else, and then they find the suit halfway through, and then he just goes on a fucking rampage. That would be amazing. And that would also be hilarious to watch him ripping fucking demons apart with his hands. That would be great. But again, Universal has decided to go away from this because they wanted to pursue whoever wrote this half-ass what looks like a half-ass adaptation, and it's something that I think people are going to forget about this. People aren't even going to care. It's going to come out on direct-to-DVD or on some streaming service, or hell, they might even premiere it on television if it's tame enough. And then nobody's going to remember it, and they're going to bury the Doom franchise again, unless Doom Eternal, which is the next game in the Doom series, which comes out, I believe, this year, unless that does gangbusters, they might think about doing another film, since this film basically has been in development hell for a number of years. But I think they're just trying to bury this thing. I don't think they're advertising it very much. I don't think they're toting it. They're not pushing it out in the spotlight very much. They're just kind of, oh, here's a little teaser or whatever. There wasn't any press around this, at least as far as I know. But it's a shame, honestly, to see the Doom franchise, kind of fall into this. Where look, we're always going to have the games, and the games are, as long as they're being done by id Software, they're probably always going to be good, as long as they don't, as long as they don't degrade or get bought out by somebody. Those games are probably always going to be pretty good. And we'll have that as video game players. We'll have that. But again, like many other video game franchises, I think that you could make a good film adaptation out of it. And maybe I'll do a list at some point or something like that, or I'll list off some video game properties that I think would make really good film adaptations. But leave your thoughts in the comments on the Doom Annihilation. I'll link the trailer in the description in case anybody wants to watch it. But tell me what you think. Put a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?